Welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to show you how to create a paycheck budget using the budget by paycheck method. So the very first thing that you want to do is list your total expected net pay for the month that you are budgeting for. If you're paid hourly, just use an average or lowball it. Create a separate column for each pay period and expected paycheck amount. Next, you want to list all your fixed monthly expenses. These are expenses that do not change month to month, but are the same. You know exactly what they are and exactly what date they're due. Things like your mortgage or rent, utilities, insurance, and expenses like these, subscriptions, phones. It might be helpful to review your monthly bank statements. Total these expenses and subtract them from your net pay to get what you have left to budget for. Next, you're going to budget for variable expenses. These are expenses that do change month to month based on usage or another metric. You want to set a maximum monthly budget amount for these expenses, even though they do vary. Total these variable expenses, then subtract them from what you have remaining from the previous to get what you have remaining left. Next, you want to put your money goals into your budget. If you don't put them in your budget, they probably won't happen. So include goals for saving and investing and convert them to monthly amounts. You can always tweak these later. Total these and figure out what you have left to budget with. If you have debt payments, list those there. Next, you want to use your sinking funds. Sinking funds are just a strategic way to set aside money every single month to pay for a future expense, a future non-monthly expense specifically. Things like car repairs, home repairs, vacations, Christmas. Instead of trying to cash flow them in a single month, it's helpful to budget for them monthly and save up. Total these, you should have nothing left at the end. You want to budget every single dollar. Now you're going to break down each total monthly budget expense into one or multiple pay periods. This is where you're creating your paycheck budget or your budget for each paycheck. For things like a mortgage, it might be helpful to break it into 2 different paychecks depending on when it's due. You're going to want to look at when your expenses are due and their total amounts in order to determine what paychecks they're going to come out of. Ultimately, you're going to have to find a paycheck budget schedule that works for you. Yours won't look just like somebody else's. It has to fit your unique needs. The goal, though, is to have even cash flow throughout the month. So you don't want to front load certain expenses like your mortgage, maybe taking it out of one paycheck, because that won't leave you with much left to budget for other things like groceries, toiletries, etc. For variable expenses like groceries, it might be helpful to budget each week for these. The goal here is just to break down each expense into smaller, more manageable chunks. It'll be easier to stick to your budget if you do it this way. At least that's what I've found. So to recap, your total monthly expenses that you listed on the left are going to be broken down into one or multiple pay periods. At the end, each paycheck should be budgeted down to 0. Questions or comments? Comment below. I'm happy to answer.